Now, people, oh dear me, bracing for another huge rise in energy bills when the next cap takes effect. And it's coming our way in October. It's really not that far away.
No, but it will be as we go into winter.
Yeah.
Energy consultancy Cornwall Insight, that's what they're called. They say they're expecting the next price cap increase to result in the average tariff jumping to nearly £2,600.
Well, this comes as demonstrations are taking place across the country today over the cost of living crisis. Let's talk to Andy Mayer, who's Chief Operating Officer at the Institute of Economic Affairs. Andy, really good to see you this morning. We keep asking this question to all sorts, people like you, to politicians, to everyone we get. What more can the government do? I mean, is there any more that the government can actually do?
So in the short term, not a great deal. I mean, I'll say one piece of good news is that forecast for 2,600 is £400 down from where it was a couple of weeks ago. So the oil and gas prices are at least going in the right direction. So although it's still volatile and we don't know where it will be, we can at least hope that that trajectory will continue, and it may not be that much by the time we get there, but it's still an enormous amount of money. So in the short term, all the government can really do is try and substitute new sources of oil and gas in the supply chains. And that's why last month it was going off to Saudi Arabia, going off to America and trying to get new deals. That's the biggest thing they can do this year. The other thing they need to do is get out of the way when it comes to building new sources of oil and gas and potentially other energy sources onshore. So they need to relax the planning rules, they need to relax the regulations on fracking, and they need to stop dithering on this and start drilling. Other things, well, they could, if they wished, move some of these energy bills onto general taxation, but that's really a sticking plaster solution because you're still going to pay the money, you're just not going to see it in the same way. It's going to come through in higher future national insurance contributions, VAT, or income tax. So the long-term strategy has to be to work out how to decarbonise more affordably, and there is no alternative in the short and medium term than finding new sources of oil and gas.
Yes, I mean, a lot of people have been questioning, is now the time to go green? They're thinking particularly of the green levy. Maybe that should be relaxed or cut in the short term at least. But what you're saying there is that we have got to actually see the government investing in renewable energy suppliers, because that is literally the only way forward.
That's the long-term solution, but it is long-term. So offshore wind farms, for example, take 5 to 7 years to build. So they're not going to provide any solution in the near term. One of the things government could do where they've been quite naughty is to stop the rise in some of these renewable levies. So the bonus payment that's given to about 90% of British renewable power, the ROC scheme, went up on April the 1st. And there's no reason for that. These companies are making a small fortune at the moment. They get paid the wholesale price, which is basically the price of gas, plus a bonus of about £50 for each of these certificates. And that's a windfall. They could stop that happening. Buried deep in the supply chains, you've got things like the UK ETS scheme, and I won't bore you with the details, but it's basically a sort of carbon price. And that's at record highs at the moment. And the government has a scheme where they can cap that off when there's been a shock like the one that's happened, and they've not done it. At the moment, there's still a little bit too much net zero ideology going on in the regulators and the civil service, telling people that we want these high energy prices because it will make low carbon energy look cheaper. And that they could do something about.
Yeah.
Now is not the time. Thank you very much indeed for that. Actually, one of our viewers, Robert, has been in touch. As a lifelong conservationist, it grieves me to see the mess the government are making in their obscene rush towards net zero. Of course we should conserve energy, but wind power and solar cells are proving a very costly and unreliable way to provide the energy we need.
It's interesting. Actually, I don't think it was when you were off. There's a big piece in the papers about geothermal energy, and they're looking at drilling 20 kilometres straight down.
Core.
And they reckon if they have like a big plant in every country, one plant in every country, sort of thing, it would provide basically very cheap,
very free heating,
unlimited energy.
Yeah. I know, that sounds...
But it would, I mean, it'd probably take 50 or 60 years to get them up and running.
Would it take that long? Because the technology is already there.
It's getting down that deep, isn't it? But that's what we need to be looking at, things like that.
And that is very long-term.
That is very long-term.
We need both, don't you? We need long-term and short-term strategies. And it seems that the long-term only the rich can afford.
Yeah, let us know what you think at GBViews at gbnews.uk, or you can tweet us at GBNews. But